Good morning, my fellow estheticians. Happy Monday morning. And as always, thank you so very much for joining me. I truly appreciate you taking your morning. We have a special guest today who has been with us before, but I'm so excited to have her back, Jane Mann, the microcurrent guru. Last time she was here, she was talking to us about her Anma tool. And today I'm super excited. We're taking the Anma up to another level and we're adding microcurrent to it now. Yesterday I had a workshop at my house and I introduced this, and I got to tell you, everybody was going crazy over it. So Jane's going to tell us a little bit more about that. But first, as I do every Monday morning, I'm going to read my little saying to you. This one I picked from the Motivation Manifesto from Jess. I see you going, oh yes, I love this book. I know I say it every Monday, but I've read this one, I don't know how many times. This is Brendan Burchard. This is a good one. It's going to be a little minute here, but it's going to be a good one. Most of us are not maturing as fast as we are able. We are on a constant pause. We wait and we wait to find out who we are, to declare our dreams, to struggle for what we want, to open ourselves fully to love and to life. We await personal courage to arise within us, or for society to grant us some ill-defined permission to activate our potential. We have forgotten that courage is a choice, and that permission to move forward with boldness is never given by the fearful masses. Most have forgotten that seeking change always requires a touch of insanity. If taking action before the perfect condition arises, or before we receive permission, is unreasonable or reckless, then we must be unreasonable and reckless. We must remember we are not the sum of our intentions, but the sum of our actions. Again, that one gives me chills, right? We always we're waiting for something. For me, I always tease about this. I'm always waiting for my hair, my weight, my nails, my skin to all be good at the same time. And then I'll be okay to do this or that, whatever the thing is. And I got to tell you, in my whole life, all those things have been good for about 1 minute and that's it. So Jane, you want to pipe in on that and then tell us about your lift tool?
Gosh, that's a great quote, honestly. And I'd have to say that's pretty much the story of my life. I think that, I tell the story how one of, the first classes I taught was with you up in the San Francisco area. And that was, you challenged me to step outside my boundary comfort zone and to take the knowledge of what I had and had learned and then to put it into some type of organized method that other estheticians would understand. And as I went through my career in microcurrent, loving microcurrent, many times, as all of you that do it, it's almost like the emperor's new clothes. Sometimes there's just not a change. And whether I'm on stage or I'm in the treatment room, I've got to convince an audience now that they're seeing change. And that's when fascia came into play so much, because it was more about fascia than it was just plumping the muscle for change. And that took a lot of courage to go against probably every manufacturer that supported me, because now I was taking something that everybody relied on, muscle plumping, and changing the whole industry to know we need to start looking at fascia, because fascia houses the muscle. And so when you talk about the courage to speak out, the courage to be different, to get to that next level in your industry, you have to be, a little bit of a shit stirrer. You have to be that person that says, I used to say it was like Chicken Little. I go, you guys are so tired of hearing me say this word, but one day it's going to resonate. And whether it's 5 months or 10 years, if you really believe passionately in your purpose, you shake up the industry a little bit differently, but it definitely takes a lot of confidence and courage.
And look where you are now, right?
I don't know.
We've come a long way, baby.
But that is kind of how the lift came out. When I created the Anma, it was definitely out of a need and a purpose, and to just kind of step outside the box to create such a simple tool. But every time I would do it, I would think to myself, wouldn't it be neat if this were microcurrent? Because now I could kind of form the face, and every face with the same tool. And the lift looks just like a simple replica, and it is, but the coolest thing is in microcurrent, when you've got a positive and a negative, you really need about an inch for that conduction of those two electrodes to be the most efficient. And that's hard in the aesthetic room, because I can't tell you, it might be on your sixth client of the day, and now you're holding the two probes in one hand, and you're texting, your girlfriend that you'll be, at happy hour in another hour. And we start to kind of lose the efficiency of doing this treatment effectively. And the lift takes that issue just right out. You can use one or two. These probes or the electrodes are perfectly distanced for maximum conduction. And then the difference between a normal probe or your standard probe is that we've got these intermittently. It's not just one solid line. And this intermittency actually creates a stronger connection, and it's more consistent. And so when the probe is placed on the skin, if you're only using 4, then you've got the power or the force going between the 4. If you've got all 8 on the skin, now that same power is kind of amortized through these other points of connection. So you have the choice of making your microcurrent stronger or weaker, really upon how many points of connection you choose to adhere to the face.
Jane, that's great to know, because I'm learning along with all of you right now, because I just got this in my hands the middle of last week. And most things you have to have everything connected and for it to actually work. So that's good to know. If not all 8 of them are connected, it's still doing its job.
Exactly. Your biggest concern is you've got this, the back ports where the electrodes go in, and you have a red and a black, and the red represents positive and the black represents negative. So this is going to be, you're always going to have the two sides hitting. So you can't just angle it up and have all positive. So you need a positive and a negative for the full conduction. But other than that, no, I'm many times just use the 2 in the acupuncture or the acupressure points to stimulate the face.
Well, I have to tell you, yesterday at the workshop when I was showing this, they really were super excited. I'm excited because everyone that knows me knows I'm not a huge fan of microcurrent. It's a personal thing. It's just because to me, this whole muscle attachment and insertion and the body, the way where our body is, just it didn't make it for me. It didn't work for me. I don't enjoy it. So this is super exciting. And then I loved it at the end of our conversation, you and I talking, you're like, oh yes. And you can pull the little balls off, and you actually showed me how to use these a little bit. That's exciting.
There's so many different ways. And that's what's, I think, exciting about the tool. And in about 12 months, we actually have a 3rd generation coming out, which will even create more flexibility. But show them the balls, Shelley, how you can go ahead.
So just so you guys know, they just connect to the back here. Okay, so that's one way you can connect it.
And that connection is very, very simple, because you can really pivot the balls so the cords don't get in the client's face. But not only that, every face offers a different challenge, kind of a different terrain for the esthetician to mitigate. And so when you have the balls, this is great. You can just take them off because they're also conductive. You can go around the delicate areas of the eyes. You can even go into the nostril area. It's great for lymphatic drainage. And you can hit a lot of the acupuncture points or the acupressure points with those as well, kind of triggering lymphatic flow. And
Jane, you've given plenty of cord, which I like, so that it can be out of our way.
I like that, and I don't like that. So now we include a smaller one.
Oh.
Because it's challenging for me. I'm on the bed, I'm constantly using the microcurrent unit that goes with it. And these cords are going to be made straight without coils. And then you have this, and this just sits neatly on the wrist. And to me, it's just efficient. I'm not rolling over. However, for those that have the larger units, something like the Tama Pro or the Myo Lift, any of those that you have stationed, that long cord is really nice because you can get around the client easily.
Let's talk about that, Jane. So which machines can you hook this up to?
We designed it to be universal. So we have a lot of different adapters. When you order the tool, let me know what machine you have. Obviously, it goes with the Neurotrus, it goes with the Myo Lift. Now, the Myo Lift has a consumer version. It's kind of like, was like their first one out. It's a smaller unit. There's always been a real sensitivity to conductivity. It is conducting, but Pooja's got that really sensitive. And so I would just get really anal and like freak out staring if that line was going the whole time. But we have found that it is a constant continuous flow of current. It just doesn't register on the faceplate all the time. It goes with Tama, it goes with Jeanette's Claire blend. We have adapters, but really what you need is kind of a conduction, and these are called pins or banana clips. And so we have a converter from a banana clip to a pin, and we can help you out. The one that we've kind of struggled with is biotherapeutic. So I'm trying to figure out how to get it with the platinum, but
Jane, I love the fact that you've created something that everyone who has a microcurrent machine already doesn't have to ditch that machine, buy something else. That's highly unusual, right, in our industry, because everybody just wants to do the whole thing themselves and get them to buy just theirs. But then you do have the base available as well. So if you don't have a microcurrent machine, you can get everything from Jane.
Exactly. But I think, it's like you and I talk all the time. It's like skincare. We all have our favorites. And I don't want to say that any machine isn't good. The lift is a probe that I think everyone should have because it's a tool that just fits. So whether you like to use your hands with gloves or you want to use all the fancy probes out there, the lift just offers a different ability to really go in and grip the muscle and to create all sorts of changes.
I love that. So I haven't trained enough with you lately. So yesterday when I was working on the girls that came to my house, I'm like, hey, I don't know what I'm doing here. We're just playing. I hope that you walk away looking okay. But I don't think you can necessarily do it wrong. You can't harm anybody with it. So I was just playing around on their faces and they loved it.
It's comfortable, isn't it? Did you do it on you?
Oh, of course I have. Of course, yes.
I hate to say it. I mean, I know I created it, but hands down, it's my favorite tool. I use it all the time. I use my hands and then I finish with the lift. It's quick, easy, efficient, and I got the best out
So
there.
Jane, how often can you do this daily or do you need to leave a day in between? Like, typically microcurrent, we want to do that.
That's the great question, Shelley. And I've asked this to various doctors. So, we're humans and we've got trillions of cells moving all the time. So on a program that's going to address more connective tissue and it's going to be more shallow, something more lymphatic, microcurrent easily can be used every day. So the rule of thumb for muscles is that, that was more of a plumping, building the ATP in the mitochondria. And people thought, well, if you've got a positive and a negative, and the positive emits a hydrogen, this hydrogen is used in the cellular cycle for ATP. So that hydrogen continues to stay in the body for up to 72 hours. So that's why it was thought that microcurrent isn't necessary to do every day. But again, we've got trillions of cells. So if it's something that somebody wants to do, or you're older and your cellular turnover is longer, there's not a problem in doing microcurrent every day. I love to do it just for the lymphatics and the freshening up of the skin and the face.
Well, I said this last time you were on, and I've continued to do just the Anma every night as I'm sitting there getting ready to go to sleep. My legs, my arms, my stomach, and my face. Not for a long, long period of time, just a short minute. I can't believe how much better I'm sleeping just from doing that. I mean, that's worth the price of admission by all means.
It's just a cool tool. I get so many occupational therapists and physical therapists use it. And so I'm always getting for like restless legs. And, in our industry, that's way out of the scope of what we can say it does. And there's no clinical studies behind it. But, it's called the fascia fuzz. And that's kind of like the dust in your home. Every night, fascia creates a fuzz along the striations and along the muscles and in the tissue. And that's why when we wake up, we're prone to wanting to stretch. We want to break up that fuzz, but we don't necessarily do that with our face. And so just by going over, just gently all over, we're kind of, dismantling that fascia fuzz that can, become restricted in the long run.
So having you say that, is it more beneficial to use in the morning or night, or it doesn't matter? Maybe a little
It
more.
doesn't matter. I mean, I use it I just keep it by my bed, and I use it. I keep it in the car. I take it to yoga. Because, and especially, for estheticians, I love doing it on my knuckles and my hands.
I didn't even think of that.
Yeah. And those little grooves just fit right in there in the palm of the hand.
Oh,
so it's just really a nice
just thought about the bottom of the foot.
Yeah, you can do that at the bottom of the foot, and you can do that also with the lift, because it's the same. And now you've got the gentle flow of the electrons going.
I did use the lift on my arms. Yeah, I used that on my arms the other day because I'm trying to, that 62-year-old crepey arms coming in there. So I've been trying to see what I can do about that. So, Jane, tell us about, do you have a class? I know when I was down in Capistrano Beach, you came and did a 2 or 3 day workshop with the fascia release, manual fascia release. Are you going to be doing that again?
I am. I've got a couple. It looks like I'm going to go to Canada. Maybe in September, or later September, we're working that out. I have a class tentatively slated. We're kind of getting the numbers. September 9th in Las Vegas, Nevada. And then we're looking maybe November in Kentucky.
Okay.
So that's kind of a fun one.
Well, we'll see what we can do to get you up here to Northern California and do one. That would be great.
And the cool thing is the class has changed. It used to be a 2-day really intensive class. And so many of you ended up walking away like zombies, because I'm really vomiting a lot of information on you that isn't in the esthetician handbook. So it was almost too much. So I've really simplified the technique, and now it does incorporate the lift. So we really do a lot of manual fascia release, and then we end up using the lift for the lifting. And this class that I held during the show in June probably was one of the best reviewed classes. People loved it. They walked away with knowledge they could utilize instantaneously. It didn't require going back to the handbook and reading it. Once you really understand the benefits of fascia, you understand the tools, because it's just innate.
Where can everyone get a hold of you? Where will they find you?
You probably know. Ashley is like Wonder Woman. She's my right side of the brain. So if you email byjanemann@gmail.com, I get it, but Ashley takes care of so much of this, and she's the doer. She makes everything happen.
And then what's your website that everyone can get on and have a peek?
Byjanemann.com.
Well, that's it for today. That's all the time we have, Jane. I appreciate you so much coming back on again, and everyone else, I appreciate you taking your Monday morning with us. Go out and make it a great day. See you next week.